Let's use this moment to talk about Square and my analysis and thoughts on it since we're here on the chart. One of the things that's very bullish on Square is, as you all know, the market was pretty bearish / is kind of bearish for the day, right? Broader market's down 1.2%. Square was gapping down. This is one that we did look at this morning as something that was doing different than the market. If you remember, the reason that Square was doing something a little different than the market was because the broader market was a bearish candle gapping down and Square was a white candle gapping down. So that is different. And with this gap down on Square, the other thing that's really intriguing to note is this is a perfect hammer candle. Type in a 1 if you would agree that's a perfect hammer candle. In fact, I'll give you the second one. Here's another one. Very good hammer candle right there. So you have a wonderful hammer candle. We almost got filled from the weekly options newsletter. In fact, let me just show you that trade setup really quick. Dashboard. All right, so I'm going into reallifetrading.com and I'm clicking on my personal dashboard. And let me click on the weekly options newsletter tab. This was the most recent trade setup on Square. I don't have to read the whole thing, but limit buy of 350, stop loss of 250, option risk $1, 500 shares or 5 contracts. This was what the trade setup looked like. So this was last week on Tuesday. So the low that I wanted it to trade into was 66.81 and the stop loss was 64.31. Now, if you played it with shares, we'll talk about that in just a moment, but the option only got, I think, 40 cents away from triggering. So we were very, very close to getting filled on the pullback on Square. But here's what's valuable to note, ladies and gentlemen. Did this wave structure, this S-curve, this movement, is that what occurred on Square? Let's kind of go back to it. Is that what happened on Square? Jack says, wouldn't a best hammer be at a low swing instead of a mid swing? I guess. The lower the hammer, the better, but I like it when they're above all the moving averages. So that one's good. So again, I'll kind of come back to this is what I was looking at. This is what I was looking for. This is what I was planning on. And this is what it eventually did. So this was the candle that we were trying to get filled on right here. It was very, very close to getting filled, just didn't quite happen. But the reason that that's beneficial to know is because this type of gap, who can tell me what type of gap this is on Square right here? What type of gap is that, ladies and gentlemen? Who can tell me? Who's watched my videos? Retest gap. You are correct. That is indeed a retest gap. So true or false, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, Square was retesting the retest gap. True. All right, true or false? Was Square retesting the retest gap? That is true. So that's another reason why Square is bullish today, and another reason why I like Square bullish going forward. What are some other reasons? Well, again, you'll notice that right now it's above all the moving averages on the daily chart. I like that. If I look at the long-term moving averages on the daily chart, what did we do on Square? Again, this is the 100 and the 200 simple moving average on the daily chart. We kind of retested the 200 a little bit. We bounced off of it very nicely right there. So you're above all the daily moving averages. It's like, okay, cool. What about the weekly chart? All right, let's come over to the weekly chart. Notice we are above the 100 simple on the weekly chart. This is called stacking the odds in your favor. You're just going through the list and going, man, all right, Square is bullish above the 100 simple on a weekly chart. Dawn, what is the general direction of Square? General direction is bullish. That is correct. So now if I go to the moving averages on a weekly chart, ladies and gentlemen, true or false, we are above the moving averages on a weekly chart. Yes or no? The answer is yes, absolutely. So at this particular point in time, I would say that Square is pretty bullish. In fact, it's more bullish than most of the stocks are out there right now. So I would stipulate, if you're looking at playing Square, I would attempt to buy a pullback, and this probably will be a weekly options newsletter trade to some degree. But you could look at buying a March call option or a February call option on Square on a pullback. You're probably going to go with a $70 call. And we'll talk about that in the afternoon room, but that looks like a very good opportunity to go long, because I've been telling everyone in real life trading for a few months now, this gap on Square will fill. It will fill. I don't know when or how long it's going to take, but it will occur. My good friend, an amazing trader, Xochitl Rodriguez, said she played Square too conservative and got 0.9 Rs. She should have gotten at least 2.25. Can you throw in the chart, Xochitl, on how you played Square today for a day trade? And again, folks, I'll set this up in the afternoon swing trading room most likely, but this is going to be a really good opportunity to buy either some shares or some call options on a pullback. I really, really like the bullishness right now of Square. And this is also a company that I like longer term as well. Bam. Okay, so Xochitl is pulling up that chart. Does anyone have any questions on Square while we're here? Anything that you're worried about? Anything that you're interested in? Matt says, you have a question, Bruce? Yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know. Huxian says, why do you like Square long term? It's a great question. Let's go through it. Number one, do you guys know how Square makes money? Huxian says, yes, she does. Thomas says, yes, he does as well. I also know how Square makes money. Do you use the product often, or do you know how the product is used? I would say the answer is to that also yes. All right. Big picture, weekly chart. Is Square in a bullish trend? Yes or no? The answer is yes. All right, cool. Is there potential room for growth on Square? I think the answer to that is also, yeah, we know that there's potential growth. More people can use it. More people can download it. And this is a company that makes money while it sleeps, right? They don't have to actively sell any products to make money. For example, GoPro, right? GoPro and Fitbit. I know Fitbit got bought out by Google, but companies that have to actively sell their products, right? That's a little bit of a harder business because you have to have sales, you have to have teams, you have to have employees. But with Square, once you have created that merchant processing account, people can use Square at any moment in time whenever they want. This company can make money while it sleeps. So that's a good business model to be in because it's payment processing. Jill says, no, I have no idea. How does Square make money? Well, let's teach you. Square. Okay. Square Solutions. So have you seen one of these kiosks before, Jill? When you do a checkout, Square contactless chip reader, Square register, Square iPad. So when you're going to a, Jill, are you in the US? I guess you might not be in the US. I do forget that I have an international audience. She is in the US. Well, Jill, go shopping more. I'm giving you full permission. Go shopping more. There you go. Bottom line, when you go out, I mean, I see these all the time, Jill, like coffee shops, donut shops, small businesses use Square as a checkout register. So when someone is coming to pay you with a credit card, you can use Square and everything is done for you. It takes like 30 minutes to set up and it's really, really simplistic to use. And there are millions of users who have a Square checkout register in the US. So it's pretty much small business on the spot credit card processing. Does that help, Jill? So a lot of people use Square. It's very, very common. And now that I've talked about it, you might know it a little bit more in the future. You probably see it more in the future. But yeah. Jill says it looks like a kiosk at Chili's. Chili's very well might use it. Yeah, they probably do. Awesome. So let me pull up Sochi's chart really quick on Square since we were talking about it. And there you go. So Sochi was playing the 3-minute chart on Square. This is her day trade. So 3-minute chart on Square. She gets in bullish. Self-analysis, got in too late. Should have got in 50 cents earlier. A fear of the weekend after China, coronavirus. Not sure if it would really gap and go. Should have traded 68.65 by 68.10 with a $55 stop, 2 contracts. So Sochi is a trader of weekly options. So she was buying calls on Square. And yeah, great trade. Again, I love your entry. You played on the 3-minute chart. You got in aggressive. I think this was a good setup. Getting in at 69 with a stop at 68. Fantastic job. Well done. Great trade, Sochi. So wow, that was a really good analysis and kind of like an overarching opinion and thoughts on Square, ladies and gentlemen. This is a stock that I do personally own long-term as well. Both myself and Ashley, we like this company. I know exactly how they make money. I use it all the time. And I think they're going to continue to grow. And there's a lot of opportunities for both Square and PayPal. Huxian says, do you think people will use more and more of their phones for payment? Absolutely. And Square owns most of those payment via phone processors, like the Cash app. So absolutely, Square already owns some of that business. They own some of the competitors. PayPal owns Venmo. I would argue that PayPal and Square aren't massive competitors. PayPal is more personal business payments. So for example, if anyone works with me, we do coaching together or we do some type of work or exchange of products, I'll often use PayPal. But Square is more small business payments. So PayPal is more personal, interchangeable, person to person. Square is more business to person. Does that help, guys? Is that kind of intriguing? Now, if you're wondering how I know all this, honestly, friends, it's just a little bit of research. Spend some time on Google and ask people who are smarter than you. It's not because I'm smart that I know this stuff. I've been bullish on PayPal and Square since they IPO'd. You got to dig into it, do a little bit of research, ask some questions. That doesn't mean that I'm bullish on every stock. It doesn't mean I'm bullish on every company, but it definitely does not mean that I know what every company does. I'm just big into payments. Antoine says, what are your thoughts on QSR? All right, let's look at QSR.